tell me, Austin, just from the beginning, what was going on Monday?
Okay, well, Monday, my class started at 11:15. I had a math class, which I already don't like going to, but I was late, actually. I pulled into the parking lot at about 11:30, and I noticed this red Dodge Challenger. It passed me as I was pulling into the parking lot, and I was like, wow, that's a really nice car. That's kind of at a place at a college, at a university, and had Florida license plates. I made note of it. I just thought, I was like, okay, that's a nice car, and I really didn't think much more of it. Then I parked my car, and I actually remember looking at the clock, and it was 11:33, and I got out of my car, got my things, and locked the car and started walking to class, and I got to about the end of the parking lot, and I heard a scuffle, heard some people yelling back and forth, and I turned around and I saw two people disappear in between two cars, and I also saw that Challenger parked there with the passenger door open. And I really didn't think much of it because I was just like, okay, these people are gonna fight, have a fight, they're arguing, whatever. It's not my business. And then turned around and kept walking, and then I actually heard her start screaming. I heard a female voice start screaming. She said, "Help! Help! Somebody please help me!" So I turned around and started speed walking that way just to make sure I heard what I heard. Then she screamed for help again, and I just took off running. And I was probably 75 yards or so, maybe a little closer, maybe a little farther, but from the car. And then I got to about 20 feet away probably, and they emerged from in between the two cars that they were in, and he had her in one of his hands, and then he had a gun in his other hand. And like I said, I was about 20 feet away, and he's holding her. He has her by the back of her coat, so her face was covered, so I couldn't see her face, but I could see his face, and he definitely had he had that, I guess how I've been describing it to other people is like the eye of the tiger. Like he was in the zone. He knew what he was doing, and he was not going to let anybody stop him. So at that point, I'm probably 20 feet away from him, and that's when I see them come out. And then I'm basically sprinting towards them, so I took another step, and I'm probably about 15 feet away. And then he points the gun at me, and he points it at my chest, and he says, "Don't try it, bro." And then I'd taken another step, so I'm about 10 feet away at this point, and I slow down as much as I can, and I basically just jump behind. I put my hands up, and I jump behind a car, and I really couldn't do anything because he has a gun. But yeah, then the only thing I could do at that point was just watch him get her into the car and jump in and drive away. And then he actually drove a few feet, and then saw the brake lights come on, and she actually somehow got the door open, and then but he closed it again, and then they just ran off. And actually, as I took off running, there was two other people walking the opposite way, and I flagged them to come over, and as soon as they drove away, I turned around, and they had run up, and I quickly explained to them what happened, and she's like, "All right, good, I already have 911 on the phone." And it was all very, very quick, and we all ran to the school security officer's office and told him what happened. I told him what he looked like, and I came back 20 minutes later because he told me to write up a detailed description of what happened. And he held up a picture of the guy. I was like, yeah, that's him. And it was all very quick, so good job to the law enforcement for all the quickness of it.
What was going through your mind when you saw that gun and then inevitably he pointed at you?
What immediately went through my head is duck, get out of the way, and then I was like, holy crap, like this dude has a gun on campus. And then after they drove away, I honestly thought I was on that show, What Would You Do? I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I was like waiting for people to come out with cameras, kind of. It was just so surreal. It was literally like a scene out of a movie that you'd see in a movie like Taken or something. It was insane.
When did it sink in that it was actually real, that actually happened to you, and what kind of could have been sort of situation?
Yeah, probably about 2 hours after it happened, they had a ton of police officers here on campus. There was highway patrol, undercover cop cars. There was U.S. Marshals here. The whole, like, seemed like almost the whole Ontario police force was here, and me and the two other witnesses had actually been sitting in the car, in one of the cars, and they drove us to their little command center in one of the parking lots, and I was just like, damn, that really just happened, and it was pretty crazy. And
Why'd you run towards her? What was going through your mind? Why'd you run back?
Because I really didn't think about it too much, but now that I look back on it, it just kind of happened. It was kind of like fight or flight, and my brain just, I guess, chose to fight. But if my sister was in that situation, or my mom, or some other important female in my life, I would want somebody else to. If they had the ability to help, I would want them to. So now that I've thought about it, that's probably why, because I'd want somebody to try to help one of my loved ones.
I guess now, you said you were late for class.
Yeah.
Do you think that's interesting at all, that you just so happened to be there and you were
Yeah.
able to see so much detail all because you were late?
Yeah, I've thought about that. I've thought about, like, what if I had gotten there a minute earlier and I was out of earshot to hear her scream, or I wouldn't have maybe been there to let the other people know that I was, like, something was going on, to like wave them in. What if I'd gotten there like a minute after, like I passed the car driving away, I would have had no clue what was going on. I would have just seen that car driving away, or I would have known. And it's just like the timing was just so crazy. And I've also thought a lot about, like, what more I could have done, or like, especially knowing that they both passed away. Like, I was on my way to take a midterm for my economics, and I found out that they had both been killed, and I was just like, it was like literally 5 minutes before my midterm, and I definitely bombed that midterm, but it was just like, I hope so. I emailed him, I was like, this is what happened, and yeah, but.
Did you know Skylar at all? Had you seen her on campus?
No, I did not know her. When I saw the picture, for some reason she looked familiar, and also so did Tyrell. He looked, when I saw him, it was as if like I knew him, and it was just something in my brain connected it, I guess. And then once I found out he was actually a student in the highway patrol program, whatever you want to call it, that's when it clicked. I was like, okay, I must have seen him somewhere around campus.
Oh, so you've seen him like through that?
I guess so. I mean, just because he looked kind of familiar, I guess I must have seen him at. Some people said he played basketball, and I went to a 3-on-3 tournament one time. I mean, you could have seen him there. Mm-hmm. I don't know, or at other campus events, just passing him in the parking lot or something.
When you woke up on, the Monday morning, you probably could have never imagined something like this would happen.
No.
No. What's it been like the past few days for you?
It's been different, I guess. I mean, I've slept well. I've eaten. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about it, so I mean, that's probably helping. I think I just kind of accepted that it happened, and I do wish I could have done more, but I've also accepted that I really couldn't have done more without hurting myself or having other people around get hurt. So, I mean, I've just been dealing with it, just going on, like I said.
Do you feel safe here on campus still?
Yeah, I feel safe. I definitely think that was just an isolated incident, and I just happened to be the person who was there to witness it, which, I mean, I guess I don't know if a lot of other people would be able to deal with it, I guess, how I have. So, I mean, I guess.
So were you glad it was me and say maybe not like
I mean,
friend or like your sister, you know what I mean?
yeah, I'm not glad per se that I saw it, but I feel like I can deal with it as a person. And I've talked to some counselors, and they're like, yeah, you're doing a pretty good job dealing with this. Just always know that there's people here to help you. And I guess just that thought, the reassurance that people are there, and my family and my friends have all been really supportive about it, and they're like, you did the right thing. And so I just feel really good about that, and I do feel safe here on campus.
Yeah, so parents get the campus alerts as well. Had you already talked to your parents before they got the alert, or what was kind of their reaction to you hearing about it?
My
being involved, I guess.
My parents actually didn't find out until probably 4 or 5 hours after it happened. They don't get the campus alerts, and because they're not on the signed up for it or whatever. But after it happened, like I said, I was talking to the officer, and then I wrote up my description. Excuse me, and wrote up my description. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And then after that, I went to my next class, and I was just, telling some of my friends what the heck just happened, and I was just trying to do some homework to get done before my next class. And then I actually had all my stuff on a table. I had my book bag, my coat, my iPad with my homework, and my phone. I just had it all sitting on a table, and I went to fill up a water bottle. I was thirsty, and then I looked out the window after I filled it up, and there's just all these cops out there. So I figured, well, maybe I can help in some way. So I went out and told them I was one of the main witnesses, and then 3 hours later is when I finally got done talking to investigators, talking to different officers, and we'd been sitting in that one car. We were sat in that one car for an hour before anybody even came to talk to us. That had to do with the investigation, but yeah, and I didn't have my phone that whole time, so nobody even knew what was going on or anything. I was just still sitting there on the table and stuff.
So campus security didn't keep you. You came back out and said, "Hey, I could probably help."
Yeah, I went after I wrote up my statement. I went back to my math class actually. My math class was over at that point, and I wrote my statement up in math class, and I didn't even pay attention to anything she was saying, but I just kind of told her what happened, and I just went to the back, wrote my statement of what happened, and then after the class was over, I went and gave him my statement, and then right after that, I just went over to the library and started doing some homework, trying to get ready for my next class, and then I went to fill up my water bottle, and I saw them, so I thought, okay, maybe there's something I can do, maybe something I can.
Have you gone through any any sort of emotions other than wow, that kind of happened since then?
Yeah, I mean, after it happened, I had anger, and I also had sadness. I wish I could have done something. Because if he didn't have a gun, I really believe that they could hopefully both still be alive at the moment. I could have slowed him down. She could have got away, or something like that. But yeah, I know he was just very, very motivated. He had made that decision. He wasn't going to let anything stop him. But I've also felt, it's not survivor's remorse or guilt, whatever they call it, but I guess it's kind of like that. But it's just because I feel like I do wish I could have done more. But
I feel like you did the right thing for sure. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you would like to say or anything?
I don't know if you already got that part on camera, but I just wanted to let Skylar's family know that someone did try to help her, and somebody saw that it happened, and just let them know that the other witnesses did everything that we could as quickly as we could to try to help her and get her found. And
all right, thank you